How y'all are? I'm glad that you can join me today, I guarantee, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Haunted Indiana, Ghosts and Strange Phenomenon of the Hoosier State, written by James A. Willis. Today is October 10th, 2019, Thursday. In tonight's tale, the curious history of the West Baden Springs Hotel. Dr. William Bowles started construction on the French Lick Springs Hotel in the 1830s. A decade later, in 1846, as Bowles prepared to enlist in the Mexican-American War, he approached a fellow, Dr. John Lane, with a proposition. Bowles wanted Lane to sign a 5-year lease with him. Bowles needed someone to look after the hotel while he served in the Army. Lane agreed, and even though Bowles ended up coming back 3 years earlier than the term of the lease, Lane had spent enough time there that he made a decision to create his own hotel near the springs. So in 1851, Lane purchased 770 acres from Bowles and began work on his own hotel. The following year, the Mile Lick Inn, named for the nearby settlement, opened. Like the French Lick Springs Hotel, the Mile Lick also bottled and distributed mineral water, which helped raise awareness about the inn. Mile Lick also took another page from the French Lick Springs Hotel playbook when it negotiated with the local railroad to have tracks laid out close to the entrance of their resort. As Mile Lick Hotel continued to draw attention, comparisons to the Wiesbaden, Germany, which also relied heavily on its mineral springs, were made. So much so that in 1855, Mile Lick was officially renamed West Baden. Shortly thereafter, the Mile Lick Hotel followed suit and became the West Baden Springs Hotel. In 1888, a private group purchased the hotel and began making improvements at a mind-boggling pace. They even went so far as to create a 2-story covered, 1/3 mile bicycle and pony track. And in the center of that was a baseball diamond that was later used for the spring training games by teams such as the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs. Over the years, as the hotel continued to grow and prosper, it became the setting for historic events between 1918 and 1919. Part of the hotel was designated Army Hospital No. 35, where soldiers wounded in World War I were treated, and a famous scene played out the hotel on the day of the 1929 stock market crash, as employees and wealthy guests, many of whom had made their fortunes in the stock market, gathered together in the hotel's offices, awaiting confirmation that the market had indeed crashed. Word finally did arrive, and the following morning, almost all the guests had departed. Management attempted to keep the hotel open during the Depression, but it became increasingly difficult to keep things running. In an odd move, in 1934, the decision was made to donate the entire property, then valued at more than $6.5 million, to the Jesuits, who turned it into a seminary. For the next 30 years, the Jesuits made significant modifications to the property. They began by turning the hotel lobby into a chapel and installing stained glass windows. A cemetery was added to the property as well. But one of the boldest moves made was to dump truckload after truckload of rocks into the mineral springs, essentially filling them in. When that was done, concrete caps were placed all over the springs. After the Jesuits left, the property changed hands several times, and it fell more and more into despair with each new owner. Finally, in 1996, Cook Group Incorporated took control and began the painstaking, time-consuming, and costly job of restoring the resort to its former glory. Untold hours of hard labor and literally tens of millions of dollars were sunk into the project. But the result is amazing. With such a rich history and so many people passing through the resort over the years, it is futile to try to identify the ghosts. Although cold breezes are felt and phantom footsteps are heard throughout the hotel, it is nearly impossible to put a face to the feelings and sounds. For example, there is the ghost said to haunt the third floor. When spotted, this apparition is described as a man wearing 1900s era clothing and a bowler hat. He walks up and down the hallways late at night, apparently oblivious to the fact that the living are standing right next to him. The second floor of the hotel is where guests have claimed to see strange mists creeping down the hallway. Sometimes pale green lights are sighted. Heading down to the ground floor, there are reports of a woman in a beautiful gown in the atrium. There might even be a rather cranky ghost in the hotel lobby, as this is where some guests claim to be touched, pushed, and even slapped. And while guests are not permitted in the basement of the hotel, that is where employees have seen shadowy, moving figures resembling human beings. Finally, there are whispers about the ghosts of two men who committed suicide by jumping from the roof of the hotel after receiving the news that the stock market had crashed that fateful day in 1929. Their ghosts are seen throughout the property, including up on the roof of the hotel, where they allegedly leaped to their deaths. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's tale. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you want to come find me on social media, my links are in the description. Be sure to hit that bell icon to stay informed when I drop another episode of Haunted Indiana. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you all for listening. I love you all. Bye.